Tesla will make some merchandise buyable with Doge, according to CEO Elon Musk. In an interview with Time, which named Musk Person of the Year, Musk saying that Bitcoin isn't a good substitute for transactional currency. Rather, Dogecoin is better suited for transactions. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO was also named one of CoinDesk's most influential of 2021. Joining us now to discuss is Jonathan Chester, CEO of Bitwage, a payroll processor using Bitcoin's Layer 2 scaling solution, the Lightning Network. Hello there, Jonathan. Thanks for joining us. So Elon doesn't think Bitcoin is good for payments. He'd rather use Doge and have Tesla accept payments on merchandise using Dogecoin. What would your advice to Elon be?
Sure. Thanks for having me here. I guess my advice for Elon is that he has to start experimenting with the Lightning Network, right? This is one of the fastest, easiest, and cheapest ways to send money on the internet with the hardest form of money that we've ever seen today. Of course, I guess Dogecoin can be fun for the memes, but if you're talking about actually getting access to people who are using Bitcoin as a store of value globally and allowing them to purchase Teslas, you got to use the Lightning Network.
All right. So Bitwage offers folks the ability to receive their wages in Bitcoin through Lightning. Can you give us some examples of who's using this?
Sure. Yeah. Just to take a step back, we enable all different kinds of Bitcoin payroll. We've been around since 2014. We have a direct deposit product where employees can sign up and get paid. And we have literally employees from every demographic, such as people working at the IRS, in the U.S. Veteran Affairs, but also software developers, architects, people working in education, all different kinds of people, any kind of demographic that you can think about are getting paid. But we also have a B2B service that allows companies to also receive their invoices in Bitcoin, but also pay their employees in Bitcoin. And what we just announced last week was the first ever salaries paid on the Lightning Network. We did one of the largest transactions ever in a single transaction through the Lightning Network Hive mind, which is essentially where the main net is, where all the merchants are connected. So we did over $1,300 in a paycheck to the CEO of a Pan-African Bitcoin startup called BitNob. And that CEO was then able to instantly spend over $1,300 worth of Bitcoin on the Lightning Network into the entire Lightning Network.
All right. So again, give me a sense of, who is receiving their wages in Bitcoin and what countries are you dealing with and what kind of companies?
Sure. Yeah. So in Latin America, we've seen spectacular growth in some of our key markets. We actually grew over 20x since the beginning of COVID. In the United States, we also see a large customer base. I think we grew almost 3 times as much since the beginning of COVID. I use the beginning of COVID as a benchmark because we've been around since 2014. But what COVID did is it acted as a catalyst for both Bitcoin and the remote work movements, which has accelerated the need for HR organizations to implement Bitcoin payroll. And that's why we've been seeing big growth as a result since then. In terms of who's doing this, we see athletes, we see musicians, we see everyday people, mom and pop shops. The main kinds of companies that use us are actually below 200 employees, a lot of 10 to 20 employee people. And a lot of them work in services industry. They're not necessarily tech startups, so we see a lot of those in crypto companies. But we also see a lot of organizations like marketers, like accounting firms, law firms, financial firms, customer service organizations, software development firms that are coming on and using us.
That's interesting. And you mentioned Latin America, where, there's a country like Venezuela that sees high inflation. So an alternative currency might be helpful for them. But I wonder, how does it address Bitcoin's volatility? People who are underbanked can't afford volatility. So how do you address that?
Yeah. So the thing is that what often happens when you look at the price of Bitcoin in these other countries is that the price of Bitcoin often tends to be higher, normalized to the dollar compared to actually purchasing in the United States. So a lot of people are actually getting an arbitrage. So when they get paid from, let's say, a U.S. employer, and then it's paying to this Argentine or Brazilian freelancer, what's happening is that they're actually getting access to cheaper Bitcoin. And then when they have the Bitcoin in their wallets, whatever wallet that might be, they can sell it. Maybe they'll get 5% more, 10% more of their salary, or they'll keep it because their local currency is losing 10%, 20%, 50% every year.